Today we're going to talk about the Persian and the Peloponnesian Wars, the two major wars that shaped Greek culture under SOL WHI .5. So these are the notes that are titled Wars in Ancient Greece. The first thing we're going to talk about is how warfare has changed since the units on early humans and the River Valley civilizations. We have now reached the Iron Age, which means that the weaponry is now made of iron rather than bronze. So the implements that need to be used in warfare, the shields, the swords, the helmets, all of it is now made of a cheaper and stronger metal, which means that soldiers could afford to actually equip themselves and governments could afford to equip soldiers better. So what we have now is a growing military class. You do need to know the word phalanx, which can be found at the bottom of the page. It means Greek fighters and the formations that those fighters mean. So phalanx with a PH sound is also for formations of soldiers. That's an M, formations. Right? We're going to start with the Persian War, which is the first major war in which the Greeks actually are united together. We've talked a lot about the differences between Athens and Sparta and how Athens and Sparta are very oppositional. However, the Greeks do a fantastic job when becoming attacked by another culture of working together in the hope of stopping them. The Persians attack Athens and are defeated at the Battle of Marathon, which is, as many of you heard the story about the guy who runs back and tells of the great Greek victory, and that's sort of the concept of the running of a marathon, only this guy didn't run our distance, he ran like 100 miles or something like that. The Persians come back 10 years later and they attack again. They do actually have within their own soldiers Greek city-states that aren't the Athenians and the Spartans, and some of the Greek city-states chose to be neutral in this war, which makes it more powerful for the Persians in general. Under this second wave of Persian War is everybody's favorite Battle of Thermopylae. This is the battle of the movie 300 with some very big dramatic license. The Battle of 300 is not, if you notice, 300 Spartans. It is 7,000 Greeks, including a group of 300 Spartans, versus a 100,000 men strong Persian culture led by Xerxes. We also have the Battle of Salamis, which is a Greek victory at sea, right? S for Salamis and S for sea. This is the strongest that the Persians get. This is the furthest into Greece the Persians get. Not to be a spoiler, but the Greeks lose the Battle of Thermopylae. And the Greeks win at Salamis, forcing the Persians to retreat. So, as a result, the Greeks are in control of the entire Aegean Sea. If we go back to our map, which I'll show you, the Aegean Sea right here is actually completely surrounded. All this purple is Persia. All of this is Persian. And with the loss to the Greeks, the Persians lose control of the Aegean Sea. Additionally, Athens remains independent of Persia and isn't going to increase their governmental culture, their governmental systems and their culture. And they lead what's called the Delian League. This is going to be Athens in the next war, is the Delian League. A couple of decades later, you have control by the Athenians and the Spartans as the two major groups. So the issue is that the Athenians want to control everything, as do the Spartans. So the Delian League, which we've already talked about, fights against the Peloponnesian League, which Sparta wins. If I go back up for just a second, I will show you how this peninsula, right, that Sparta is on, 3 sides, is called the Peloponnesian Peninsula. Athens is way up here. So that's why it's called the Peloponnesian League, is because Athens is on a different peninsula from the Peloponnesian Peninsula of Sparta. So Athens has a great navy, right? We talked about the Greeks have boats and goats. Sparta has a better army, because we've talked about that over and over again. It's that concept of militarism and duty and strength and honor that the Spartans have that the Athenians aren't as strong in. So one of the battles you need is the Battle of Syracuse, during which Athens is defeated. And then another, that's really the only battle you need. About 10 years later, the Athenians are going to surrender to the Spartans, which means the Athenians lose the Peloponnesian War, right? It's an Athenian loss for the whole war. And here you can see Sparta is over here on the Peloponnesian Peninsula, and Athens is up here on more of the Balkan Peninsula. The problem with the Peloponnesian War is that instead of uniting the cultures and encouraging innovation, and with the Spartans they have militaristic innovation, and with the Athenians they have the growth of science and math and astronomy and philosophy, instead they're fighting a war. Both governments are funding war. It costs a lot of money to fight wars over a long period of time. And so instead of funding education, they're funding war. So it actually weakens the political power of Athens, and it weakens Greek culture globally. So that's it. Definitely know how to compare them.